Hi, you're joining me today and I'm just about to start sowing artichoke seed. We're growing heritage artichokes in our new permaculture orchard and they were always really popular in Victorian times. But the important thing is to get the temperature of the growing medium correct. So I've got a soil thermometer here and it's reading around about 11 degrees, just over 10 degrees centigrade, which is pretty much the baseline for seed sowing at this time of year. Seeds germinate above 6 degrees slowly. So what I'll do is I'll sow them in the seed modules, then I'll put them in the heating propagator in the greenhouse. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We've got two types of artichoke here. We've got artichoke green globe, which is a well-known heritage, large-headed globe artichoke, but we've also got artichoke violetta chioggia, which is an Italian, beautiful Mediterranean purple one. And we're going to grow those separately in two different module trays. So here's the seed, and you can see it's quite a long seed. And the important thing is when you plant these seeds is to place them just below the compost. And you can use a dibber to make the hole, but I just tend to push them in one or two at a time. Try to just put one in if you can. But it's amazing the variety of shapes here. They're not all the same size, and it just points to the genetic variability of seed. And you never really know when you sow what's going to come up. So there's always a sort of excitement when they germinate later on. So I'm just going to sow each of these roughly the same depth to try and equalise the germination time. And then what we'll do is we'll pot them on into 9cm pots and plant them out later on amongst the cherries. But we'll need to take our time there because they need to be a good size. Otherwise they won't survive if it gets too hot. So I've planted all the seeds, and the important thing, just to finish the job off, is sieve some of this compost over the surface. And what this does is it keeps the moisture up at the right level. Seeds want a little bit of moisture when they germinate, but it's actually the humidity in the compost, not the water in the compost, that gets them to germinate. And I just tamp that down very gently. I can put a lid on and that's ready to go into the greenhouse. Right, so we're in the greenhouse now and I've placed the tray on the propagator. So it's going to get the right temperature, and this propagator runs at 18 degrees. So the propagator will make sure that the root environment is warm, but the other environment factor that's so important is water. So I'm going to water the seeds just with a little bit, not too much, because it's the humidity in the compost, in the air in the compost, that actually germinates the seeds. You don't want to flood them, so don't overwater them. And if the nighttime temperature in here drops, at least being in this propagator will keep them warm. It's also very important to say, put a label on. This has got green globe written on it, so I know it's green globe. And also, I've put the date on, so I know when I sowed them. It's important to do that because if you're doing multiple sowings, you get in a mess and then you forget what you've done. So that's now going to sit there for about 20 days and we'll monitor its progress. And when they're big enough, when they've got 4 or 5 true leaves forming, they'll be big enough to pot on. But we'll see how long it takes.